All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. And before we go to approve the minutes and bills for payment, we need to reorganize since we're a new board today. So,
Nominations in order?
nominations are in order.
I move that we appoint Zeke as chair.
Second?
Second.
Any other nominations for chair?
It's old American.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We need a vice chair.
I nominate Louis.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Well, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we've got a vice chair. So that leaves the clerk.
I would nominate Bill for that because he did such a good job last
Again?
year. He did
Again?
such a good job last year.
Well, I'll second that. Any other nominations?
Steve.
No, I didn't hear a second on that one.
No, I didn't either.
What? Joe, say it. Say it ain't so.
Well, I'm going to declare those nominations closed.
Real
All
road.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
No, yeah.
So we have our,
Oh, boy.
looks like we're pretty well reorganized. I'm going to skip down to new business because reappointment or appointment of the tree warden is part of the reorganization of the board. It's supposed to be our first order of business once we're reorganized. So, Godfrey Renaud has said that he would continue on.
I'll
as
nominate
tree warden.
Godfrey.
I'll second it.
All right, discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Godfrey Renaud is our tree warden again. Now I will, well, is there any other reorganizational business? I guess we should do procedures, we'll follow.
Town service office, we might as well do that.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Sure, town service officer, that's
Rita
Rita.
Ramirez.
Okay.
I'll nominate her.
Okay,
Second?
all right, I think she's done a good job.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Rita Ramirez is our continuing town service officer. Great. So I guess we just need to say that we will use Robert's Rules of Order, follow the procedures for select boards that's in the back of the VLTC handbook.
And also you need to set the time.
Set the time.
I would move that we continue to have our meetings at 6 p.m.
Second.
Okay.
I was hoping you were going to go again, Steve.
I wanted 5:30,
You
I
pushed
really
it
did.
last time. I was sort of liking it. I was
5:30 before.
going to wait for you for that one.
6 is probably all right.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys would like. Earlier is even better for me, but it might be hard for people to get here that want to attend.
Six. So all those in favor of 6 o'clock?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we want to have a time limit, say, half an hour, 45 minutes max?
That's how Lewis used to run it.
Well, he did for a short time.
while, yeah.
All right, well, we'll leave that.
Whoa. He
Let's see.
stumbled.
We've got to appoint a select board assistant.
Louis?
Do we really?
Select board, yeah.
Oh, who could we possibly get for that?
You know, this is like a good old boy club. We should have a female.
Why don't we check out Lori Frechette? I'll make a motion.
I don't know about checking her out, but let's make a motion.
Yeah, right, we can get in trouble.
I will second that motion.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, well, I've heard good things about her.
No, I haven't heard the greatest, but I've heard things about her, I guess is what we could say.
Okay, well, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear no opposition, so I guess that's...
Lori's stuck.
Does she want that position, though, I wonder?
Do we want to give her the choice?
No,
No.
that's a good point.
Thank you very much.
And you do a good job, you absolutely have to continue doing it, so.
That's why I wanted to nominate someone else for clerk.
Well, is there any other reorganization that we need to do?
If there's anything we have to do now.
Let's get on with the meeting then. Let's see, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of February 27th and bills for payment 18P?
I will move that we approve the minutes of February 27th.
Can we do that separately,
18.
Steve?
Okay.
Okay.
Just because
Okay.
Joe and I didn't do the minutes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
okay.
just do the,
Okay, yep. I
warrants.
move we approve the minutes of February 27th.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor who were there?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Good thing we had a quorum here.
I guess so.
Yeah. I will also approve for payment warrants 18 and 18P.
Second that.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor, and I believe everybody can vote on this?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
All right. Well, we're burning through this agenda. Visitors, public comments, the floor is open to any of our visitors for public comment. Harold, do you have anything more to say?
Not this time.
All right. T-Bows, do you have anything you want to? No, just, you've heard what exciting meetings we have, and
Just want to check it out.
yeah, well,
Still 2 seats here.
well, that, would you like to, do you have anything that you'd like to bring up? All right.
I just saw on the agenda though, that's why I came.
Oh,
Oh, that's one.
okay. Well, let's keep going and we'll see what you'd like to
Item
comment
11,
on.
unfinished business?
Oh, the lease.
Yes.
Okay, the hiring report.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We have to review and sign the 2013 annual highway financial plan.
Yes, did they move that because it was in the way the camera?
And
No.
where is that? Highway fund.
You gotta watch out, Bodette comes in and shuffles those around on you.
Yeah, yeah.
Used to.
Oh, he might have still.
he might still
has
sneak
his
in.
key.
No, he didn't. He gave it back today.
After he shuffled or before?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure.
I don't see anything here.
I don't know. Well, we can go around and sign keys.
We started. Actually, start here.
Okay, Lori, where do we have
Right
that?
there.
There we go.
Okay.
Who's that?
All right. What?
Somebody filed it backwards.
Oh,
I think it was probably Lewis. He was the last one.
okay. Well, this is the annual highway financial plan for the Agency of Transportation.
I'll make a motion that we sign the annual highway financial report.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing no. I guess this motion passes, so sign it. And I'll put it over there, and you can work it around this way. Do we have any
Those are just for you, see.
update on the gravel pit?
Not that I'm aware of, no, we, just, everything has been submitted to Act 250 that I'm aware of, and we're just kind of waiting at this point.
Okay. All right. Correspondence for information. We've got the tax bill from the Wyndham County. Came in a little lower than what we were fearing, so that's good. Any letters of interest for the DRB, and letter from our zoning administrator just letting us know about a DRB hearing on the 19th of the month. Anybody feel moved to discuss any of that information? There is.
I don't know what the 319 DRB hearing is.
There was a few different things they have going on. They have different hearings going on. There was one for the Loomis Old House being...
Oh, don't throw it on, never
That's
check
because
it.
the town is in a
Joe,
butter,
grab that pen.
that
Oh,
little
sure.
section of
Yeah.
property that the town owns on, at the corner of Schoolhouse Road
Right,
and
in
East
middle,
West Road.
yeah, East West Road, right.
So that's why it's on the agenda.
Thank you.
Let's see, there was a Select Board Institute, was that in that file?
It's in the correspondence for discussion. The next
Correspondence.
folder.
For discussion, okay. All right, well then I'm jumping ahead. Okay, if no one has anything they'd like to discuss about correspondence for information, we'll move down to correspondence for discussion and action. And I had that there, right there. There is the Select Board Institute, and that's training put on by VLCT. And if anyone's interested, the information is all here and the dates.
Did you see that, Joe?
I did see that.
Those are good things.
Those
Those are very good.
I
Yeah.
was going to ask if any of you have been to those.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
all...
we all
Yeah,
have.
we all
Okay.
Right.
They're a little bit different every time. I wanted to go to this one, actually, but it's on a day when I couldn't go.
And it's not this weekend, it's the following weekend, as I recall.
Well, it
There's
depends on which one you go to.
Saturday, March 23rd, and then there's another one, I think on
April
April 13th.
13th, yeah.
It's the April 13th, April something one that I wanted to go to, but I cannot.
Okay.
And actually, when you read the information, the first one in March is geared towards cities and larger towns. And the
Yes,
second one is geared more towards Dummerston SOS.
yes, there's, on the April 13th, one of their topics is going to be effective communication, and my wife is going to sign me up for
Well,
that.
there's also a conflict of interest, which I've been after them to try to change that to a morning session when more people tend to be there. It's scheduled at 3 o'clock or something. And I've been if anybody can help me on that, let VLTC know. It'd be nice if that was earlier in the day. I would appreciate the support.
I guess I should ask, when we attend things like this, does the town pay mileage?
Yeah,
They register you also.
and they pay the registration. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about mileage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can put in for mileage if you
Yeah.
want.
Really? I went to all those ones.
Some of us go to them and don't put in, Bill,
Yeah,
and, you know.
If they're in Montpelier or some, I submit mileage. So.
Rutland, I went.
Oh,
Bennington,
Oh,
I
no,
went.
we never.
No, never do it.
No.
We're going to start this year, though. I think.
I can't believe I'm subsidizing Gene Newell's tax bill by not putting in money for. You owe me, Gene. You owe me.
Oh, I do,
Particularly for
yes.
freshmen.
You owe me too, so.
I got it.
So, well then, moving on. Update on the TiVo mediation, discussion of next steps. You sent around,
I did. I looked up the decisions that are online and ferreted through what I thought seemed appropriate to this case and ended up with about 21 cases. And at the previous meeting, I suggested the possibility of dividing those evenly among us. Zeke had already read 8 by the time my email went out. He had a long lunch one day. And
So he could read 8 more. probably
I'm
pretty
done,
easy.
I'm done.
so I got the idea from Zeke that he was not keen on the idea of dispersing the wealth, but instead ferreting through individually and then probably coming back.
Yes, I sent a message around saying, read what you can, and
Yeah,
no pressure.
I'm okay with that. What's our timetable for it?
Okay, well, anyway, thank you for doing that, and I thought it was really interesting to read those. I'm thinking maybe resigning this and actually applying to the DRB.
Too late now.
Okay, so at the last meeting, I was authorized by the board to contact the Tebow's attorney and let them know that we were getting ready and we wanted to get going on this. I called VLCT just to be sure we were going, taking the right steps. And of course I talked with an attorney who felt that our taking this on ourselves without using the town attorney was, he had a hard time fathoming that we would take this on. I kind of don't think, it's, maybe we should consult with our attorney, let them know what we plan to do. But
Couldn't we consult with them if we hit a sticky point, or, basically, we're gonna be reviewing our zoning?
yeah, the DRB has, is going to be looking at another slab hollow property soon. Is it?
That's on the
19th.
19th.
Yeah, so I think that would be very interesting to see what they do, in that they can also use waivers
Right,
now.
yeah.
So that might give us a little more fodder for our more reading material. So if you want, I could call the attorney and just run this past them, but
Our attorney did say that we could negotiate with them. If that, that's way back when this all took place. I contacted the attorney, and that was one of the three options they gave us, was that we could negotiate at that point, as soon as it was going to environmental court, that we could negotiate ourselves. We could have them involved, or we could do nothing. And, at that point, we chose to do nothing and just let it go through environmental court. But we can, we can do it ourselves.
yeah, we had a meeting, in February 13th, I think, or 15th, and we said, we voted to enter into mediation, and we rescinded the vote that had members of the DRB representing the town in E-Court, so.
It seemed like there's two courses of action. We can contact the attorney ahead of time before we really do anything, or we can wait and do it and then see from the attorney if what we're intending to do is appropriate, legal.
Lewis has already contacted the attorney earlier when we talked about this, and I think he was pretty comfortable with us proceeding if we wanted to mediate at that time,
Right.
if I remember right. So, I think we could start, and then if we have questions or
Before we jump
Phone
over a
call away.
line with our
Right, yeah.
information.
Right.
I'm okay with that, if you guys are okay.
This is mediation.
Yes,
I'm fine with that. Our attorney is Bob Fisher, is that correct?
yes,
Yep.
yes. All
And
right,
he's a phone call away if we
okay.
want to.
So I don't think we need a motion on this. It's pretty much following the course that we said we were going to do last week. I'll go ahead and contact the Tebow's attorney, let them know that we're aware, and get going.
And could you give us a timetable when you'd like us to have those cases reviewed, so?
Oh, let's see. Let's see. I'm not sugaring, and I am not, grading papers or, so.
You're a hard man.
I just have one thing about this.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned. I didn't come to that meeting on the 15th, but I'm a little concerned about the town, the select board really getting into mediation with this. Setting a precedence that people are going to start saying, why don't we just go through the select board? The DRB made a decision, and I thought our first decision was a good decision. I think once we made the decision to let the DRB go to the court was not a good decision. I mean, this could end up costing the Tebows more money in the long run because they're going to have to pay for their attorney to come through mediation with us. And once the mediation is done, I'm not sure what the process is for the DRB or some, individual in town to decide that they want to appeal our decision.
That is a possibility.
And then the Tebows are going back to court. I guess my biggest thing with the whole thing was, and I was trying to say it from the very beginning, if we just let it go to court, the court will make a decision. And once we decided to let the DRB represent the town, that's like an environmental court. If we let the DRB go to environmental court, that's like letting the judge go to the next level.
Yeah, we've already been told we can't do that, that they can't do that.
So, I mean, to me, I would think it would be in the best interest of the Tebows and the town to really let it go to environmental court. Because I think it's going to, in the long run, I'm sure it's going to set a precedence that people are going to say, let's go to the select board.
They would have to go to E-court.
Right, they would have to go to the E-court, but as soon as, all they'd have to do is file with the E-court.
They would have to file with the E-court. We would get the notice from the E-court, do you want to mediate this? And then we could say, well, yes or no.
Right.
The other thing that's happened, Louis, since then is that we now have waivers available to us, so we might be able to resolve this issue locally. And we also have uses not specified, which I don't know, does it apply? But we have approved some other zoning options which might really help us resolve the issue locally.
Right. I'm sort of thinking that maybe this would be a better way of resolving the issue for the Tebows.
This being,
The mediation.
I'm just,
Yeah.
did anybody come up with an answer of how it gets appealed if we make a decision?
Mark actually asked that question that evening, and I don't think we have the answer yet, do we, Zeke?
No. That was one of the reasons I called BLCT, was to find out how the meeting, would the meeting be open, would the meeting be closed, or...
Because I'm just thinking of their attorney's fees. I mean, it's it could really add up for them, because attorney's going to charge you for the mediation because he's going to come to the mediation.
Yeah.
And then if we approve it and somebody doesn't like the decision, or we don't approve it, if we don't approve anything and the attorney doesn't like it or the Tebows don't like it, they can still go to environmental court also. I mean, so it could...
I think our more concern was that we made a decision that somebody didn't like here and could appeal it. And we didn't have an appeal process set up, and that's what Zeke was working on. And I don't know if you'd made the meeting, but Kevin and Lori were here, and we had a pretty good discussion with them that evening about how we would proceed.
Right. At that meeting, I think they...
we should ask them. I thought they were in favor of mediation. Okay, yeah,
mediation.
okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louis.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of those lawyer bills too.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a DRB member here. Want any comments?
Well, I guess my first comment is I wasn't coming here expecting to talk about it. So I could make a lot of comments on tangents, but you as a select board, and I wasn't a member of this particular deliberation, but just as a general DRB, I mean, you have inserted yourself in a position, you've chosen to insert yourself into this mediation. I mean, initially, the DRB, it's a board appointed by you. We review the bylaws. We don't make the bylaws. We have to interpret and make a decision based on the bylaws that we have. Now, the natural process for that is anyone who wants to appeal that. That's why it's a semi-judicial board. We swear everybody in, they take an oath and these things. Was to the environmental court. And the course that it should have run was probably gone to the court. I think the town could have appointed someone because our decision that we wrote cannot be brought to the court. When the court starts their process. They start the thing just like we had never even sat and deliberated and made a decision on this. So I believe the town can appoint a representative to that court. I think we probably missed the timeline for that.
Yes.
So therefore, in fact, by sitting on it, you, as the board, just allowed it to, essentially, the town not be represented at the E-Court. And then I wasn't, now from there where you went into mediation, you have just kind of inserted a new job for yourselves if you want to take that up. I mean, and I agree with, I think it was Louis brought it up, I mean, this is a board that interprets the bylaws, and now anybody who doesn't agree with a decision that's made, they're just going to say, well, let's go to the select board. So potentially you created some work for yourself, and if right, wrong, or indifferent, we won't go down that road. So at that point, you have, now I'm kind of going where I don't know. I mean, you've talked to the lawyer, you've gone, said you're going to go to mediation. From there, I don't know where the next decision goes. Every person who disagrees with a decision come to you? I don't know.
No, we're responding, it went to E-Court first, so anyone who wants to appeal to the decision to the E-Court, they would, as that process unfolds, we might be approached to see whether we want to accept mediation in an appeal. And we could say yes, or we could say no. So that's how I see it. Not just if I went to the DRB and was unhappy, I wouldn't just go home and call Bill up and say, gee, I want to be on the agenda for your next meeting. I want to go into mediation. So that's how I respond to that idea. Yes.
And also, I think we were approached by E-Court to try to mediate this locally through the attorney. It has seemed to me that E-Court wanted us to try to resolve this locally.
I think they would try to do that with any case.
Right.
Yeah. They would do that with any
So
case.
we've
And I
been
guess that's where I was going with that is they're going to do that with any case, is to try to have it done locally.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel, and I've said this all along, is if we do it for one, we should do it for the next one. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it for one, why won't you do it for the next one? Be fair for everybody. You're going to mediate one, mediate the next one. Doesn't mean if you're going to do that, and I'm just saying, it doesn't mean we have to agree with it, and we can decline it and let them go to environmental court afterwards. But if you're going to look at one person's, I think you should look at the next person's too. If they go to environmental court and we get the letter saying to do it, and that's where I'm saying I think we're putting more work in front of us too.
Can I ask how many appeals would we get during the course of a year?
One, Tebow's. I mean, really.
There's
The
only
only
been,
one I've seen.
I've seen two. I mean, down at the school. That was a long time ago. But the school next door to us there, they had gone to
Oh,
E-Court.
yes, right.
But the Sunoco could have for Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, different places.
They did, but
They could have. I mean, people could, and they might now too. I mean, if depending on how the select board makes their decision, people could say, well, geez, we're going to go to mediation.
They could go to E-Court,
Right.
and then their lawyer could suggest to E-Court that they go into mediation, or they offer to go into mediation. We would get the request and we would look at it, and depending on what it was, I
Circumstances.
suppose we'd look at it and we'd decide whether we wanted to get involved or not.
Right.
So I don't know as we'd be flooded.
Well, I don't think we'd be flooded, but I'm just saying we wouldn't be flooded. I mean, I don't think there's that many decisions. I'm just saying that any decisions. I mean, this is turning into a lot of work for the select board itself.
Right. So
But-
even if we,
But we've already made a decision
Yeah,
to do
right,
this,
yeah,
so
decision.
I guess we should move on.
Yeah. And even if we were to decide not to do the mediation, the next person that appeals to the E-court on a decision, next year, if they appeal it to E-court, then we'll be asked.
Or will be, like
yeah.
I said, I think you're gonna be asked on every one of them
Right.
Yeah,
to try to work it out.
yeah, whether we
But I-
mediate this one or not, I think. It'll just be part of the process for anyone that goes to E-court.
I have a feeling that E-court would suggest that for every
Everyone.
case that
Yeah.
comes before them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
what,
that's
that's what I'm
the
saying,
case.
is every one of them is gonna come to the town with that request.
Yep. All right. So I don't think we need a motion on this.
No,
What started this discussion, however, was the timetable,
Time.
Yep.
um,
So,
when you'd like us to have those
oh.
cases
read.
reviewed. Yeah,
Okay, I'll say as soon as possible. How about that?
that's very definitive. I appreciate that. Okay, I get the message.
I think he's trying to cut Louis and I a little bit of break, and we'll certainly be busy sugaring for a couple weeks
Yeah.
or more, I hope, if that's tolerable.
Yeah, even reading, a few of them, I think, gives you
Yeah,
a
a
pretty
sense.
good sense.
Okay.
And reading all of them,
I got you
it's great.
back.
I thought it was great reading. It was better than anything
I have
thought I would
Zeke's
like.
back, I want you to know.
How do we get these, Laura? Did you get these to us?
I sent them out, actually, the
Okay.
email could be forwarded to you now that you're,
Yeah, okay.
I can probably do that.
Okay.
What did I put them in Google Docs, Lori, do you
Yeah.
remember?
I think so, yeah.
So it'll have a link and it'll take you to them.
Okay, if you could do that, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just saw your email appear today.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, discuss the lease between the town and the community center. How'd that fit on the agenda?
It's been ongoing thing.
Okay.
We got to see some of the venom for the first time the other day, yesterday.
Good thing I got home from work late, right? So I didn't get to see it.
Yeah. That was the first time I sort of figured out something's not right. Yeah.
But being at the town meeting yesterday is really what inspired me to come today, because I was glad to see Louis here, and I was curious to meet the new select board member.
Thank you.
And then when I looked at the agenda and I saw that item, I just wanted to come and listen.
Mhm. Well, does anyone have anything?
I had talked to Sherwood Smith yesterday about this a little bit, and had hoped that at some point we could get the teams together and discuss this and resolve. I was more thinking of the next step down, which is the community center and the library, but
Yeah.
we don't seem to be able to progress. Yeah,
Louis
tried
made a
to-
special
yeah,
effort last
yeah.
fall to do that
Yeah.
very thing,
well,
right?
Dave Patrick sent an email to Gene. We
Yeah.
all saw that.
Yep.
And I haven't seen a response
No. I
to that
don't either.
email to see what was going on there.
Mhm. It seemed the lease that they were being asked to sign seemed a little different from what I thought was going to
Yeah, it's in there. I mean,
be. Yeah.
it's saying that the library is here, and if you decide you want to go into the community center room or the other room, you have to get approval, and you're going to pay money to use those rooms, which,
Right. I heard that they think they're going to have that other front room that was, the floors were refinished.
well, I think everybody would understand that they don't get to go into that room if it was rented, but the community center room is for the community center.
Mhm.
And, I mean, if the library wants to do their summer camp there, and it's not affecting anybody.
Right. Do you want to wait and see what the
No.
response is?
No, if you would like, I'll call Jean and see what her response is. And I'll try to see what the response is.
And can I say the actual agenda item is the lease between the town
Right,
and
yeah,
the communities?
right.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah, I just was taking it one more step, Lori, sorry.
that's okay.
Mhm.
And we've got to get them to sign that, but there is a couple things that have to be changed on that. And if you'd like, I'll take that home and change those things.
Sure, and then bring it back.
Bring it back for
Yeah.
next meeting, and
I wonder-
we can actually ask the community center to come to that meeting to sign that, and we can discuss things with them there if we'd like.
Yeah, I wonder if, just tossing this out, I don't know how they choose their directors or trustees for the community center.
They've never changed. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they brought on a couple years ago, but they haven't had any different people on that
Yeah.
for years.
I wonder if a select board member should be, maybe a member of that, or the select board should have representation on that board. I see that not
I don't know.
going too
I
far.
don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, originally the idea was that the community center would operate independently of the town,
Right.
and we seem to get drawn in more and more each year, but it might be a way to facilitate some of this stuff too, so. Can we think on that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess I'm curious, what's holding us up on the lease with the...
Well, there's a couple things. There's, we pay the insurance now, and in the lease it says that the insurance isn't paid, and there's just one other line that really has to be changed.
Yeah.
There's only a couple lines that have to be
We
changed.
just haven't really dealt with it.
Dealt with
that's
it,
all.
and I think we could feel comfortable asking them to come to the next meeting
Mhm.
and signing it.
Yeah.
But we can send it to them before the next
Right.
meeting so that they can look
Yeah.
it over.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Just in preparation for that next meeting then, and looking, the item says discuss the lease between the town and the community center. To prepare the board to have knowledge of what the facts are would be very important, and wheels wouldn't keep spinning. I have questions. Does the community center board have a mission statement? I have questions. Who pays for the rooms and who doesn't pay for the rooms, and I just don't know the answers to these, what I think are very good questions, and I think that for that next meeting to be productive, it would be very, I think the right thing to do would be to investigate the history of how the whole situation started, and really think about it, and think about how what was decided, I don't know how many years ago when the community center became the community center and operated independently, but think about, because the decision was made that way, what was written at the time, and now we've gone through all these years of ambiguous, and I won't say that word, it's just very ambiguous, and it got to a boiling point. And people change, situations change, demographics change. I think that it should really be taken seriously, how it was founded and where we are now, and the progression of that.
And as you rework this lease, I mean, I don't know the specifics of the lease, but as you rework this lease, and if the library is a long-term user of that room, I mean, can the town not incorporate in the lease that you're now working out with the community center how the use of how the library fits into that lease, I guess, you know, like, I mean, it's a little more work for you as you prepare that lease, but, I mean, instead of you doing the lease with the community center, you know, one town thing, then those two trying to sort it out.
I think that's what, honestly though, I think that's what, when the whole history of it was just that, was the town didn't want to get involved in doing that, you know, and
But your involvement has increased, you know,
Well,
not
we're-
based on this over time, but on paying the insurance and doing other things. So
Right.
maybe it's a natural progression that these two entities are tied, at least in this building. And as you work through that lease, define, you know, what the you know, how the library is going to use that extra room. You know, are they going to pay for it, or, you know, whatever work, just decide it at this level, and then it's not, now you don't have two separate things. You know, you're trying to sort out, here's the community center thing on one week, and then the next week you're back together trying to sort out with them, as you've done several times, you know, a sublease. I mean, why couldn't it all be worked into, you know, the initial lease with that community center?
If I understand, maybe somebody correct me, but my understanding of this original concept of this was that the town was considering selling the building, and Gene, you might be able to correct me, was considering selling the building. And then there was a group of people that came forward with the idea that they could run the community center if the town would keep it, and it would basically be its own entity, because there was a fair amount of people in the community that wanted the building sold, so it wasn't a liability to the town. And there was a significant amount of people that wanted to see it stay utilized by the town. And we are, unfortunately, slowly getting drawn into it, but I think because of how this originally was founded, personally, I don't think we need to be writing the sublease that they make. The agreement the town had is with the community center trustees, I guess would be or board of directors, whatever the trustees. And it's their job to run it. I think the only thing we've been trying to do is mediate this hard feelings between two tenants.
Two town tenants too.
And we do recognize that it is an asset to the town, and we certainly don't want it to fall into total disarray structurally, so we've made some commitment to do some repair work that way. But I certainly would be hesitant to get too involved, because the original agreement with townspeople was it was going to be a self-supporting, self-sufficient, and the town wasn't going to have to be liable. So I hate to get dragged into helping them write their subleases.
Well, and I'm not suggesting you write the sublease, but I am saying that you have progressed. I mean, the agreement back when it was, I mean, things mature, you know, things evolve, and you've evolved into paying, I don't know what you pay. You pay the insurance for the building or not. So that's what I'm saying. You avoid the sublease, and in your lease to the community center defines the use of another town entity. You know, just a suggestion.
I think what Steve's saying is not in your lease, as you direct that to the board, but the community center's lease. Is that what you're saying, Steve?
I'm just saying that the town really, yeah, we just have an agreement with the community center trustees of how they're going to maintain their property and what they're responsible for. But I don't think it's, I don't know, I don't think it's fair for us to tell the trustees of the community center how to run the community center unless we see an inequity that we're trying to resolve.
Something I heard was the community center, I don't see how we should be telling the community center how to run their property. I think that's the key, their property. That is how they run it, like it's their property.
Well, that's sort of the agreement that was, years ago, they were going to be responsible for it, and that's why the town didn't sell the building.
Right.
And now we're finding that that's not quite as convenient as it sounded then, but I think we have to be careful about...
Right. That's why I think you should go back and learn how it all started and maybe where the library, a town library, got incorporated into that building. Because when that agreement was made, the library wasn't even in the picture. They were at the Grange. There's not an income. There used to be an income, and there's not now. The daycare has moved out. The business that was renting has moved out. It just needs to be relooked at. because their property is not being fair.
Okay, you're going to call Jean and see what
Her response
her
was
response is.
to
Yeah.
Dave. Yeah.
Or you're also going to take that lease home and
Yeah.
spiff it up and bring it
Right.
back.
And I'll send it out to the community center after everybody looks at it and just make sure they think it's okay.
Yeah, okay, and then we're going to invite them.
No, Aaron.
Did he say to speak? He was lying.
All right, is that Harold Newell asking to speak again?
Yes,
Oh.
one question or informational point.
Yes.
Being town property,
Yep.
in a sense now, and being a public building, there has to be two means of egress, and they can't be locked. I understand now that what used to be known as the first grade door is kept locked. That's not, or the outside, and that has to be accessible, so that has to be made sure in the contract, because that would be, something happened, then it would be a bad situation, because there always has to be those two means of egress in that. You've got your front door and you've got your back door through the first grade room onto the metal fire escape, which is legal. So it's, if things come up about locking doors,
Yeah,
that has
yeah.
to be thought of.
Okay.
I mean, they say, no, we're not, using this room, we're keeping that locked.
Right, right. As Lori pointed out, that's probably a state fire marshal
Yeah, it's
issue.
yeah.
All right, is there any more discussion about,
Number two.
oh, all right.
I just, last meeting, I asked about the community center lease
Yes.
and when that was coming due. Is it like March of every year? Now that I see you have it on the agenda, is that?
No, I
that the
don't
way
think
it
it's
happens?
necessarily March, but it's sort of when we revise it and get it ready to go, I think that's when it's going to be. There's probably the original date in there, but
Probably what?
the original date is
Okay.
in here someplace, but I don't
Okay.
know exactly.
Okay, all right,
What
because
it
that
is.
was a question I
It's
asked.
yeah.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other discussion about this? No? All right. Other business. We have to set a goals meeting, or I have a goal of setting a goals meeting. And that's usually takes place outside of a regular, one of our regular meetings. And how long do you think sugar is going to last?
God, I hope 20 more days, but it doesn't matter because that meeting is kind of usually a little shorter than the standard meeting.
About the 24th of April. That's an off Wednesday, isn't it?
Does it have to be a separate meeting?
Yeah, usually it is.
Usually it is.
I guess what I was asking is, does it have to be? Not what it usually is. Which might be more convenient.
We can be whatever we want.
I think it should be.
Yeah, I do too, a little looser discussion quite
Okay,
often.
yeah. So it's the 6th of March today. How about something, 6, we'll meet on the 20th, meet on the 3rd of April and the 17th of April.
27th or 10th, either one?
About the 24th of April.
You want to wait that long?
It seems to be over by
10th,
that
10th
time.
looks good. 10th, 24th,
Either one's fine with me. Make a motion, Louis, and we'll go with it.
24th of April.
I'll second that.
discussion.
What time?
Same time?
April 24, 6 PM
Yes,
is the motion. The
Yes.
goals meeting.
yes.
Yep.
And Zeke, I didn't write down, you mentioned the other dates we're meeting.
We meet every other Wednesday, so
But it-
6th today, we'll meet the 20th, we'll meet the 3rd of April, 17th of April, May 1st. May Day, I mean, is that a holiday?
Must be.
Only to the rest of the world.
But when you say every other week, is it,
Every other Wednesday, 6 o'clock.
right, but wouldn't you go from the 20th to the 6th?
No,
No,
March is in the middle, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Going to
okay,
go
I'm
to
sorry. I was looking at the wrong, I was looking at the wrong month.
Listen,
Okay.
Joe, this select board business is not meant to be a sobriety trap. Cause any trouble here.
Sorry about that.
Generally, we didn't discuss that, did we drink
Oh, yeah, absolutely no drinking.
until after the camera? After the camera.
I'm so embarrassed.
No,
That's all right.
my apology.
Get used to
My
it.
apology.
Yeah, it comes with the job.
Right.
Zeke, I got a call from the sheriff's department today. They're going to have a training at their office on how to track the tickets.
Yes,
So I've signed up to go to that.
Great.
Beautiful, great.
great.
So
And when is that?
March 27th at 1 o'clock.
Oh, boy, great.
So that'll be fun.
Track
Yes.
those. Probably there's an iPhone app that you can get to
Oh,
track
and then the
those.
town would buy me an iPhone. Here you go.
And the proceeds of
If you can get one, let me know. I'll get one.
The special meeting will be held here
The goals meeting will be held here.
on the
Yeah.
24th.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
last year we had it over to the community center.
Oh,
Here this
okay.
year.
Okay.
That's
Well,
another thing we discussed at one time, was moving these meetings around a little bit.
sure.
So it is in West
How about my
Dummerston
house?
sometime.
That's what
Learning
was on the
collaboratives
website.
We
are-
talked about the learning collaborative.
Oh, God, don't go there. Let's cut that.
I mean,
Maybe we'll
I mean,
wait on that one, yeah.
Well, let's wait on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, we should, move back and
Wait
forth.
until after they do the lease.
What-
Yeah,
what-
yeah.
what did that?
Wait till after they see the lease.
Yes,
That's what,
yes,
wait till
okay.
we resolve.
Maybe we can't get in.
Yeah, they might not let us
Well, we might
your check.
we should check the back door, go up the fire escape and see if that door's unlocked. So we're going to do the goals.
We got a
that's all
motion
set.
and a second.
Oh, should we
No
vote?
vote yet.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there any other business to come before this meeting? Well, I'll take a motion to...
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Sure.
All right.
Wow, Zeke.
How do you do that? How will you choose or appoint the tree warden and
We already did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, did we change the agenda around before you got
We just
here?
wrote in Hugh.
We did all our,
Hugh in there.
Yes.
we did all our organizational stuff first.
Yes.
It is dangerous to show up.
We'll keep coming around.
So Joe seconded.
Okay, so we have adjourned.
Yes.